Hi Gastro Pals, hope you're staying safe and keeping well in these strange times. Hope lockdown is treating you well and that things aren't so bad for you all. Today I decided to do a couple of recipes together because that's how we eat them as a family normally. When my kids were little and we couldn't afford to go on holiday and stuff, we used to do a thing called International Days where we would pick a country and cook a couple of dishes from the country and learn a little bit about the country. So this has become a bit of a family favourite of ours. We like Souvlaki rather, and we also like a recipe that we've got for doner kebab meatloaf, and we sort of put it in the middle of the table as a share bears, and pita bread, wrap bread, salad, all the good stuff, and then we just dig in. So first off, we're going to look at the doner kebab, and that's really quite straightforward. It's 800 grams of minced lamb, 2 garlic cloves crushed. You can put more garlic in if you wish, if you love garlic. I have to tone it down a bit because of my lot. And then the spice mix, it's 2 teaspoons of cumin, 2 teaspoons of coriander, teaspoon of smoked paprika, a teaspoon of onion powder, and salt and black pepper to taste. Well, to preference, because you can't really taste it because the lamb mince is going to be raw. I'm actually putting in onion salt because I can't get onion powder at the moment. But it's the same sort of thing, it's just onion powder with salt in it, so I'm not going to be putting the salt in because otherwise it would be too salty. But let's go and get that one started. So first up is 2 teaspoons of cumin. Then 2 teaspoons of coriander, ground coriander that is. Then smoked paprika, 1 teaspoon. And 1 teaspoon of onion powder. However, as I mentioned earlier, couldn't get hold of onion powder, so I've got onion salt, so I'm not putting any salt in this at all. And if you use onion salt, it will be less oniony, but it'll still be nice. So then what we need to do is we need to mix this round until it's all the spices are nice and combined, and it really does smell lovely. Right, so what I've also done now is I've combined the spices together, but I've also milled a little bit of black pepper in there to give it a little bit of heat. What you can do, if you desire, is you can put a little bit of chili powder in there just to give it a little bit of heat, probably a half a teaspoon, quarter of a teaspoon, something like that. I've not done that because a couple of my family members don't really like the hot chili spice, so as I want clean plates, I'm just putting a little bit of black pepper in because they won't know. In the bowl we have 800 grams of lamb mince. Now I tend to get the frozen stuff from the likes of Asda's and Morrison's. Morrison's at the moment is doing it more cheaply. It's something like £2.70 for 500 grams. So into that we're putting our 2 cloves of garlic, and then into that as well we're putting our spice mix. And then the fun bit begins. My hands need to go in there and mulch it around until the spice mix is all nicely distributed amongst the mince. Hasten to add the mince has been defrosted in the fridge overnight, and then I'll show you what we do with the next step. So here we are. Let's just mix it around a little bit first. without the mulching about. What you can do is, if you haven't got garlic but you've got garlic powder, you can use garlic powder to do this as well. It is a different taste, but it can be done, and I have done it when we've wanted a quick fix late at night, when we've had folk round, in the good old days when we could. Right, so I've been squishing and mulching and pulping, getting the spice blend right the way through the mince mix with the garlic, and where we get to now is that all of the mince is now mushed together in a giant ball. I do it by hand because I find it quite therapeutic and satisfying. If you don't want to get your hands dirty, and I can't say I blame you, because your hands get stained up with all the paprika, then I would bang it into your food processor and use whatever attachment you've got that makes dough in your food processor. Works the same way. Okay, so what I also have is, now I have a loaf tin, and you can see I have one of those fancy loaf tin liners. I do it this way because it makes less mess, and I don't get into trouble with my wife for making her loaf tin that she bakes banana bread in smell all garlicky, and making the banana bread smell all garlicky. So we pop this into there and push it down and make it a nice shape, and then we bang it in the oven. So here it is, pushed down into the loaf tin with the loaf tin lining, and I'm gonna set that aside in the fridge for a bit while we get ready and prepare our souvlaki. So on to the souvlaki. Now, souvlaki, you normally marinate pieces of meat, lamb, chicken, that kind of thing, and show it on a stick with vegetables and all sorts of manner of stuff. Well, what I tend to find is, because I'm doing it in the oven rather than on a barbecue, doing it on a kebab stick, the sticks tend to burn. So what I'm doing, I know you can soak the sticks, but what I'm doing is I'm doing it as a tray bake, and it works for us. We like it. I'm sure I'm probably offending a lot of my Greek friends doing this, and I'm sure many of my friends that know me privately will be going, no! But that's how we do it, and it serves us well, so I'm just passing the recipe on. So in here I've got a bag of frozen lamb cubes that you can get in the likes of the supermarket in the freezer aisle, and I've just dumped it out into a casserole tray that we use normally for doing lasagna and bread pudding and stuff like that, the usual glass tray. I noticed from looking at it, it kind of looks like it's sitting on my desk, which it isn't. It's in a glass tray. See, fortunately I didn't really want to show you the burnt edges of my glass tray, but there we go. And into that will go olive oil, 2 garlic cloves, thyme, oregano, and lemon juice. Right, so in the bowl we have 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 3 tablespoons of freshly squeezed lemon juice, clove of garlic, 2 cloves of garlic, a teaspoon of thyme and a teaspoon of oregano, and I'm just going to beat them all together. Right, so now I'm going to pour it over my cubes of lamb and combine those all together. So this is where the fun starts. Just make sure all of the lamb gets nicely coated in the lemon, garlic and herbs and olive oil, like that. I'll tell you, the smell coming from this is absolutely lovely. But we're not finished. Oh no. So, while I'm waiting for the lamb to marinate in the lemon juice, oregano, thyme, garlic and olive oil, I thought I'd talk a little bit about the freezer. What we're going to put with this is we're going to put some Mediterranean veg and cook it all together. Now, the sort of Mediterranean veg you buy in the shops generally comes in an oil of its own. So I was in the shop earlier and I got that from Sainsbury's, and I believe that's got a coating of basil oil. Now, what I do quite often as well is I buy veg like tomatoes, red onions, peppers, mushrooms, and what I do is I put them in those little Ziploc bags and freeze them down. So here, but also I normally freeze down courgettes of my own and all the separate components to actually make my own Mediterranean veg mix, because I use it quite a lot. Unfortunately, can't get courgettes for love nor money at the moment in the shops that I've been in, so going to be using that. But you can do either or, and I'll bang that in frozen over the top of the lamb, and then we'll cook it off once it's finished marinating. Right, so now the lamb has finished marinating, or marinating, whichever you prefer. I can't remember which it is. I've chucked the whole bag of Mediterranean vegetables in there and mixed it around a bit. I've tried to keep the lamb close to the bottom as possible so it doesn't burn, and that will go into the oven for about 20 odd minutes at I've got a fan oven, so about 190 degrees C. The doner kebab is now ready. The souvlaki is now ready, or Souvlakia Tray bake is now ready to go in the oven. However, the doner kebab takes 30 minutes and the tray bake takes roughly about 20-25 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the doner kebab meatloaf out of the fridge, pop it in the oven for 10 minutes, and then our tray bake will join it for another 20 minutes, and then we'll see where we go from there. That will give me enough time to knock up a salad and get the pita breads nicely warmed through, ready for dinner. I'm absolutely starving. 30 minutes later, doner kebab out of the oven, Souvlakia tray bake, ready to rock and roll, and then obviously a little bit of salad to go with it. Just need to warm the pittas up in the toaster. Gonna leave this to cool off for a little bit now, just to make carving it easier. I've had chef's treat, very nice. And now I'll lift this off the juices and put it in a casserole for delivering to the table, and we're ready to rock and roll. Here it is, all ready to be taken and put in the centre of the table. Souvlakia tray bake with Mediterranean vegetables, doner kebab meatloaf, salad and warm pita bread. Nice carafe of wine in the centre of the table, ready to be shared with those people you love in your household. You can serve it in half warmed pita breads, or even in a tortilla wrap. So from me to you, bon appetit.